powers of the judiciary and the legislative branches. So, ultimately, if you really look down to the foundation, the big picture, we're talking about the same thing, the violation of the Constitution and the abuse of power. And that's what we should be remembering today.
Hey, Doug, it's a sore subject when Republicans, or anybody for that matter, compares Richard Nixon to Donald Trump. What's your take on how Republicans are processing that as a whole?
Yeah. Well, we need to think about the fact... Oh, I'm sorry, Doug.
Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, I was going to say we need to think about the fact that, after Richard Nixon, Nixon was pardoned by Ford, who was the next Republican president. The next Republican president after that, a law was passed saying, the United States couldn't fund the Contras, and he did that using a secret office in the White House. The next Republican president pardoned the people who were convicted of crimes, including Caspar Weinberger. So what we have is a continuous pattern of obstruction of justice, of a violation of the Constitution, abuse of power of Republican presidency after Republican presidency.
Yeah, Doug, so Rick says it's a continuous pattern here between Republican presidencies. I see a big smile on your face. What's your take?
Yeah, you can't compare this to Watergate. I mean, it's ridiculous. It just doesn't hold up to the facts. You can drag John Dean out on the set. You can raise Sam Irwin from the dead, but this is not Watergate. In Watergate, you had Richard Nixon using the FBI and the CIA to spy on his political enemies. There's one line in the tapes where Nixon says to Haldeman, we need more wiretaps on our political enemies. You don't even Bill Clinton had Margaret Milner Richardson, his wife's best friend, become commissioner of the IRS and audit the women who were accusing him of sexual abuse. You don't have anything like that. Or the hiring of a detective that went to school with Hillary to threaten these women. You had Nixon at one point meeting with John Dean saying $1 million, we can get that. That was to cover the expenses of the Watergate burglars. There is no comparison. It's an insult to Watergate to say what's happening now has any comparison at all.
Are you defending Donald Trump, a man who doesn't even seem to care that a foreign government who is hostile to us is sabotaging not only our election process, but the election processes around the world? I mean, he never criticized that once.
I guess at the end of the day, my question for you, Doug, is the idea of obstruction of justice not justice? Is that not what we're seeing when we talk about a parallel? How is that different?
Oh, I don't see the firing of Jim Comey, for example, as obstruction of justice. The FBI has an $8 billion a year budget. It has 35,000 agents. John McCabe, who's the acting director of the FBI, is a Democrat whose wife ran for office in Virginia and got $700,000 from the Clinton machine. 500,000 of that came from Terry McAuliffe, who was the chairman of Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential election. To say that the firing of Jim Comey is an obstruction of justice, that wasn't even a road bump. William McCabe can do just fine as director of the FBI.
Somehow we started talking about the Clintons and all of this. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. There certainly are some parallels between Donald Trump and Richard Nixon. Historians Rick Perlstein and Doug Wead, thank you both for joining us. And if you want to hear more about those parallels, don't miss MSNBC's special presentation